Well, welcome back to Air Crash Investigator, and today I'm going to have a closer look at an Robinson 44 helicopter that had a crash inside the center of one of the local cities here in South Africa. We're going to have a look at the helicopter itself. There it is taking off. The end result is where it is lying down, and in the process it actually hit a small truck, or what we would call a bakkie in local terms. So this is a R44, and you can see here it's controlled hydraulic. Well, the controls, the hydraulic supporting the controls, was inadvertently switched off by the pilot. He didn't know that, all right? But that is what happened. Well, now we're going to have a look a little bit at the history of the flight, but before we get there, let's just look on here and see the switchology. Here on above, the pilot's hand will be around here, and his thumb will have to reach the knobs here. Just at the bottom on the helicopter, you can see that speaker there. That's a siren speaker there. It only makes a siren now. You can't talk over that. And here you can see where the helicopter came to rest. Just on the controls here, helicopter, we can take the frequency out and the channel 1 out. That leaves us 2. That switch either left or right, and that will be the siren switch. It will be off, and on to the other side, this will be hydraulics on and this will be hydraulics off. So the mistake the pilot made was, instead of moving this switch on, his thumb got hold of this switch here and he moved it down, which caused, well, that actually precipitated or started off the accident events. Let's go a little bit back and have a look at, yes, it was an illegal charter. The owner of the aircraft wanted to claim it was a private flight, but according to the passengers, the pilot or the owner of the aircraft was in fact paid. So it's a no-brainer. That is a charter. You cannot get away with that. No clearances. Well, even if it's a private flight or not a private flight, you still need clearances once you land in a city like this. And I'm not going to go deeper into that one. Then the pilot planned a shoot-up. Or he might have discussed it with the owner of the helicopter before. So he was taking off, did a certain, had to come, he wanted to switch on the game siren, which would have gone like something, whoop. All right, that's the best I can do. And that would have attracted maximal attention, and there he would be. But instead, he switched off the hydraulics. Big problem. Struggled to maintain control there of the helicopter. He then, to boot, closed the throttle. And that was, then there was no more time to take control of the aircraft. The RPM reduced very quickly, and the aircraft had to impact the ground. Unfortunately, there was a vehicle on the road. This, long story short, there was no fatalities. Some people got hurt, but nobody died in this one. If we have a look at the lack of safety control, so let me just get myself out and you can get this bigger picture of what it looked like once the helicopter was lying there. Now let me clean it so that you can see better. And you can now see there's a lot of activity around trying to hose it down because there's fuel lying around and the possibility of a fire. That is what needed to be prevented right now. Okay, so let's have a look, and now specifically to have a look at what are the specifics in the lack of safety. So the first thing that I can say to you, well, there was no proper planning. And I don't have to digress on that. I mean, really, this accident speaks for itself. There wasn't any planning. Oh, we're going to go to town, we're going to do this, and. The owner of the aircraft said that he got money, and this is a sort of a charter, and the pilot, I'm not sure whether he knew that was a real charter or a private flight, but anyway, all those sort of cross lines, if you want to call it lies, came out later on. All right, but never mind, that wasn't the physical cause of the accident, that's just there. Okay, no charter license, no clearances, No passenger briefing. Now we come to the professional side of things. You cannot pick up passengers that has never been in a helicopter, as in this case, and all of a sudden just let them pop in and take off, and there's absolutely no briefing. No ground control. You will see in the video that we're going to watch that there was nobody running around. The people was actually scattering out of the way. And in fact, during the physical accident, it was quite possible that somebody else on the ground could have, been injured. No takeoff, well, the takeoff path was planned, but I don't think it was a proper takeoff path. Yes, it was into wind and all that kind of stuff, but it didn't consider everybody else there. There was no road traffic control, and I deem this as sort of an impromptu shoot-up, which the pilot tried to make off later on as he wanted to turn back and pick up another passenger, as if the Robinson 44 can take 5 packs or 5 people. But at least we know you'll say anything to save your own skin. All right, and then I say actually no skills to handle a hydraulic failure. And a lot of people will fight me about that one, but in fact, a lot of people is just trying to get and never do these emergencies because they're hard. All right? So, all right, we're going to, do you want it? No, we don't have to do it. But here he actually needed that. All right, so let's have a look at the actual accident sequence.
Right, the helicopter has taken off, and as you can see, there's no crowd control. Everybody is scattering to get out of the way. No traffic control on the road. The pilot, though, is making sure that he's clear, and is now working out his takeoff path. Well, it's difficult to really detect it, but there was a slight drop in RPM, but the aircraft recovered, or helicopter recovered at least from that. And now you can see the very tight circuit that he's flying. Coming now in for the shoot-up, the pilot now reaching for the game siren, but actually found the hydraulic switch. But then everything starts going pear-shaped. Here the RPM come down, hitting the car, just a slow motion. There you can see the bakkie on the right crashing into the bakkie. And absolute chaos.
Jullie hebben alles op video vastgevangen. Hydraulic is gekakt. Ja.
Okay, so that's just the pilot proclaiming that the hydraulics failed. At this stage, he didn't know that he actually inadvertently switched off the hydraulics. And here you can see at the bottom the siren, and that was the one he wanted to switch on, obviously for dramatic effect. Now, nobody else got injured except obviously the people in the helicopter. Especially the lady that sat left front, but they were okay, they all recovered. And then the passenger in the car as well, he got injured. So now panning over to the car, there you can see it's a little bakkie. But then there you can see it smacked the little truck right in the center of the windscreen.
Well, now what you've seen happened during the accident, we can derive. The first problem is if we don't do proper planning, then obviously that can lead to some serious damage and injury. But on top of that to boot, if we haven't followed the rules and regulations, we've got legal issues. And, well, that in itself is a tremendous amount of pain. Until the next presentation.